Adamantine from a Canadian base, and hounds on the hunt. Those are some deep cuts into X-Men lore. And tonight, in the penultimate episode, that's just the beginning. Welcome to the heart of the stories we tell. My name is Rob, and tonight I will be reviewing Episode 10 of Gifted, Exploited. Okay, skip the complaint about the X in the title. Alright, so in general, Gifted has given us one of the most breathtaking examples of an X-Men story. Yeah, okay, there are no major X-Men characters in it, although one was alluded to tonight. We're mostly following the Struckers, the Fenris twins. And we're actually spending an equal amount of time with someone who was cured of the mutant gene, even though that gene seems to be a beyond Omega level one that might just be the key to defeating the Sentinels. And all of that just in the first 8 or 9 episodes. And to be honest, I was hooked from the first episode, even if the Sentinel robots are a little bit cheesy. But there's something else going on. Something that's a kind of elephant in the room. We'll talk about that in my mid-season review episode. For now, for those of you that don't know, what I do here is spend way too much time thinking about stories. Good ones, bad ones, you name it. And basically what I do is I do reviews as stories come up. I do Throwback Thursdays every Thursday, and every Sunday I do a theory video. If that sounds interesting, subscribe, because coming soon, I'm going to be giving away a gift certificate to one of my subscribers. But for now, I want to talk to you about what the real message of Gifted is. And the fact that, let's be honest, it's the message of almost all superhero stories, but specifically X-Men ones. But before we get started, I guess I need to say that even though this video is named episode 10 of season 1, we're going to throw this up there and say spoilers for episode 10 of season 1. So once again, it's stop. Spoiler time. Okay, so the Strucker family has been separated. Mom and Dad are back with the mutant resistance, and the 2 kids have been captured. They were captured because, like I said last week, the one who normally is impulsive thought and said, wait a minute, this is going to be a problem. And that's cool. Mom and Dad are very easily manipulated into going to Sentinel Services and trying to get them to pull back or at least go into normal criminal mode for their kids. And I want you to think about just how easy of a manipulation it was, and the fact that it's something we've been seeing this entire set of episodes. Someone sitting there and playing with someone else's mind. One of those scary thoughts that makes mutants so terrifying is this woman could just be anyone walking down the street, and then boom, she can mess with your memories. And she's not the only one. The blonde telepath, there are other telepaths. I mean, seriously, what are you but a collection of your memories? What are you other than the sum of your experiences? If someone can change that, if someone can reach in and physically change your mind, how dangerous are they? And we see the people we think of as good guys do this. Now, they don't do it because they're bad and they're trying. They think they're doing what's right. But can you trust someone, any random person alive, to maybe have the ability to mess with your minds? To maybe make you relive the worst day of your life? Or the worst week? But we've spent enough time talking about the morality of that choice. What about when you have a telepath on your team who's being manipulative? What about when the telepath isn't so much changing your mind, just reading the right thoughts to say the right things? I just want to call a quick timeout here for a second. Those of you that have followed my other reviews and things know that I do something called role playing. Basically, it's a game where you get into a role and you do something, and one of the specific ones we did was a superhero one. And one of my buddies played a character who was kind of like the Martian Manhunter, only with less power. But one of his big things was shapeshifting and telepathy. The problem being that we were playing it as if we were in high school. And by the way, at the time, we were just out of high school. I think he was in his senior year. So at the time, he thought he came up with a cool joke. What his character did was when he wanted to hit on women is he would read in their minds what they wanted him to say and then say it. And the idea when we were in our early 20s to late teens sounded like a funny one. in retrospect, over the years, we've looked back over that thought process many times. If you're lying to someone and you're using your superpower to make your lie more believable and more of what they want to hear, that's pretty dangerous and messed up thought process, isn't it? And it was so simple for us to think of because he was just a telepath. Just a telepath is probably some of the scariest words you can imagine. Because really, controlling of the mind, reading of the mind, these things are horrifying. And we really got what M's plan was. Because you see, I've had this whole thing about her being a member of the Hellfire Club from the beginning. Because there's a set of characters, the Cuckoos. I wasn't 100% sure until tonight. But the plan was pretty devastating if you think about it. All you needed to do was get me close enough, get them out in the open, and allow me to tell everyone to go kill themselves. And once we turn off the collars, once the others, like me, are free, then we can work together and kill them all. Yeah, this isn't exactly X-Men territory, this is much more Brotherhood territory. But you have to think about it from their point of view, too. They were being hunted, put in lab experiments, and tortured. They're fighting as a resistance. If you think about it, you can make an argument for both sides. Well, yeah, we're the resistance because these people are doing evil, scary things. Yeah, well, we're doing evil, scary things because you guys are evil, scary people. The whole concept. I mean, they actually handle this rather well on Gifted. They're not being heavy-handed with, oh, mutants are always right. And I mean, the fact that our other resident telepath got killed in a horrible way is a testament to the fact that these mutants never should have been allowed anywhere near this internment camp. And yes, I'm not even going to sugarcoat that Nazi analogy. But at the same time, even the guy who she screwed over knew something was wrong, knew that her death wasn't just an accident. But okay, then we have the Strucker kids themselves. They're the reason she was killed. Because if you bluff, then no one will ever trust you again. So when you put a gun to someone's head and say, do this or I shoot them, if you don't shoot them when they don't do it, you've lost all credibility. How scary is that he had to pull the trigger? No, I say matter manipulation. Other people online are telling me it's just badass telekinesis. I'm not sure, but either way, the Strucker twins, the Fenris, are beyond Omega level. They are capable of interacting with things, but I want to take another time out again. The scene where they hold their hands and they can see everything and the room is adamantine, and yeah, the adamantine is a reference to Wolverine, and yay, cool. But here's my problem with that scene. They can rip anything apart. You know what they probably should have ripped apart? Not the adamantine in the room, not the sensors. How about the collars? Just no more collars. And then, yeah, since you can't turn the collars back on, come get us. Yeah. The restraining collars are something that have always kind of bugged me because of the randomness of mutation, because of the different ways different people's powers work. I kind of liked the idea earlier in the season that instead of turning off their mutant abilities, when they tried to use them, it shocked them. And that's why Polaris was able to push through it in that scene when she got into the fight in the yard. But at the same time, if you can push through it, then all you need to do is push through it enough to rip it apart. And I don't think Gifted has really thought that through. Then again, their Sentinel services aren't as technologically super as they are in the comics. And I have no problem with that. Again, I was not expecting multiple story, tall, capable of fighting Godzilla robot men. But what we got was even scarier. We got a lab that's basically torturing and indoctrinating people into being hounds. We have a father and a mother that are fighting for the lives of their children, even preferring them in jail than in that lab. And we have another set of parents who lost their child through no fault of their own, through no fault of her own. And all of this is coming as story in why it's so hard when we make people the other, when we don't sit down and talk to people, when we don't realize that that enemy we're looking at across the field is ourselves. And the beginning of this episode said it perfectly. The main cast was all in the room in the Resistance, and there was a fight between Mom Strucker and Polaris, and we had to be reminded the enemy isn't in this room. The enemy's out there. Yeah, well, the enemy's thinking the same way you are. The enemy's scared of you. The enemy is trying to do the right thing. Well, most of them, yeah. There are psychopaths over there. But remember, sometimes even when you're trying to do the right thing, you can hurt someone because you don't think through. Anyway, this season is far from over, but when it is, might be the only one depending on how some things go down. My question to you is, when I do my mid-season review, is there anything in particular you want me to talk about? How about you tell me what you like or dislike about the series? I just had a great time on the Orville, reading through comments and going through all of that. But for now, besides leaving me that comment, throw me a thumbs up and share this video. Let other people know that I'm talking about the how we tell stories and the why we tell stories of X-Men stories, and specifically Gifted. And if you haven't yet, join us with a subscription, because I want to build a community. And the next step in that is hopefully hitting 100 subscribers. And when I do, I'm going to give away an Amazon gift card to someone during that 100 subscribers special. But at the same time, what I want to do is I want to get us all talking and thinking and sharing, because I think that's how we're going to get to the heart of the stories we tell. Have a good night, and thanks for watching.